How do listening cues differ across cultures? Have you ever noticed how people communicate differently around the world? It is fascinating how listening cues can vary from one culture to another. Understanding these differences can greatly improve your communication skills. Let's break it down. Cultures can generally be divided into two main types: high context and low context. High context cultures include many Asian, Middle Eastern, and Latin American societies. In these cultures, communication relies heavily on implicit cues. This means that listeners pay close attention to nonverbal signals like facial expressions and tone of voice. They often interpret what is not said just as much as what is said. In these settings, direct verbal confirmation may be less common. Being an active listener here means being sensitive to subtle cues and understanding the context of the conversation. On the other hand, low-context cultures, which are common in North America and much of Western Europe, focus on clear and direct verbal communication. Listeners in these cultures expect straightforward messages. They often use verbal cues like asking questions or summarizing to confirm understanding. Silence can be uncomfortable in these cultures and may be seen as confusion. Active listening here involves clear behaviors that show attention, like nodding or giving verbal affirmations. Nonverbal cues also differ widely across cultures. For instance, while smiling is often seen as a positive expression, in some East Asian cultures, it might mask discomfort rather than indicate happiness. Similarly, a nod can mean agreement in some cultures but may simply be acknowledgement or even disagreement in others, like in parts of India. Personal space and physical contact are also influenced by culture. Some cultures are comfortable with closer physical distances and more touch, such as in Latin America and the Middle East. In contrast, Northern Europe and East Asia may prefer more personal space and less physical contact. Vocal qualities like tone, pitch, and volume can convey different meanings as well. Loud speech may show confidence in some cultures but could be interpreted as rude in others. From a communication skills perspective, recognizing these cultural differences is essential for effective active listening. It is not just about hearing words. It involves interpreting both verbal and nonverbal signals appropriately. Misunderstanding these cues can lead to confusion or perceived disrespect. To apply this knowledge, be aware that silence can mean different things depending on the culture. Observe nonverbal behaviors closely and avoid assuming they mean the same as in your own culture. Use culturally appropriate verbal feedback styles, being more direct in low-context cultures and more subtle in high-context cultures. Developing cultural sensitivity and empathy is key. Adjust your listening behaviors and responses based on the cultural context. Avoid making assumptions or stereotypes about how people should listen or respond. Instead, aim to understand the cultural norms that influence these behaviors. Listening cues differ across cultures mainly in how much emphasis is placed on explicit verbal communication versus implicit contextual signals. Understanding these differences can help you communicate more effectively and respectfully with others.